Welcome back again to the Unlearning Curve. My name is Stuart Delony, and I'm joined by JD Forehand and also Karl the Great. Back again for us to be talking about the things we always talk about here on the Unlearning Curve. We talk about things of mental health, about church trauma and abuse, and stuff that's pissing us off in the world. And I'm feeling like we're going to get a good mix of all of those going today. And if you guys have questions, need to shout out to us, it's the unlearningcurvepodcast at gmail.com. And since this is, I guess, my sesh, but I feel like it's going to be a continuation of our last sesh, which is really good because I do like angry, grumpy JD. It's fun.
You like saying sesh.
Oh, that's too. Yeah, that's true. And we're going to be discussing this. And I'm going to turn this over in a sec, too, just for us to just go bonkers wherever we want to on it. But this is based off an article that I'd written about Moravec's paradox. And so the paradox is kind of essentially that machines are really good at certain things like complicated stuff, but struggle with basics like human intuition. Like if you notice, and you've seen it online plenty, where they'll have people are starting to get like robots in their house, like AI type robots to do stuff. And they'll be like, pick this up or drop this or do this, and it can't do simple things. A lot of these robots do, and they look really weird and awkward, and it's fun for people to dunk on them online, be like, ha ha ha, dumb robot, look at that. But so that's the basic concept, is it's certain things that are easy for us are hard for them, but things that are hard for us are easy for them as well too. And roping that in with Christianity, I feel like oftentimes people have degrees in things like theology, but are also completely terrible at stuff like humanity. And how can you be a person that completely understands all that there is to know about the glory of God's word, but then at the same time be a piece of shit human, which would then tell me that you don't understand anything that you're an expert in, which is a paradox within itself.
But it's not new. I mean, some of the most like off-standing, like, I don't know. That's not the word I'm looking for. Off-standing? Is that even a word? Anyway, like off-putting. That's the word I was looking for. Some of the most off-putting people, like, throughout history have been, like, you look at people who, like, most understand human anatomy. Like, doctors for a long time were viewed as, like, these people who you should stay away from, because most of the time they chop off your arm until, like, very recent history. And even you guys are in the United States, so you guys probably still think that because you guys don't have any fucking health insurance. Living in the developed world now, like, it's nice sometimes to go to the doctor. I still don't do it too much, but, you know, everyone
Jealous.
Come over here sometime. We'll help you out. I'll find you a job, Stuart. Don't worry.
You will? Okay, good. But nothing that, I mean, do I have to still work the corner? Or I guess have to.
Depends on the job you want to do. It's up to you.
Okay.
We live in a free market here.
So why is it? Is this just simply just but it's always this whole idea is just it's always boggled the mind with folks that supposedly should know all of these things. And so my question is, do people like to go in these directions of trying to be experts to actually avoid doing anything? You know, meaning like I can own the words, I can know, you know, the theology, I can have these things, but that's way easier than going out and being messy and dealing with life and its complexity.
So when I reduce my world to just a few variables, then I can control the narrative and I can control how people act and all of that. And it's simple for them. And like we're talking about the world and everything outside is the world to a religious person, then it's all simple. But I can tell you, when I learned computer programming in high school, I went to a VOTEC and we learned a real simple basic, and it's actually the language is called basic computer programming. And about as far as we got in that high school program was creating like screen prompts, like, how are you today? And we had to change it to, are you okay? Or whatever, so they could just answer yes or no. Because then we have to say, if yes, then this. If no, then this. But then you got to account for what if it's blank, you know, then I produce an error. And so what we don't like is exceptions, you know. We don't like nuance. We don't like all of those things. And even though theology is guesses, theology seems to provide us with certainty. Like, no, I really studied it. Like I did in our last session, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really studied it, so it's absolute. Well, it's still not absolute, right? Where it got written down wrong. What if it was written down wrong? What if it was communicated wrong? What if they didn't hear Jesus right? And all those things. What if someone just made it up so they could fill the pews, like the way we changed
Are you
beliefs?
saying the Bible isn't inerrant?
I'm definitely saying it's
Shit, I'm leaving this podcast now. Yeah.
not inerrant. Or that's like a triple
I would say
negative.
though that like in addition to that, there's something, and I assume all of us, audience included, like people who have studied something like in depth, when you talk to someone who is naive about it, you feel powerful. You feel like, and I experience this on a regular basis because I teach students who are just learning this for the first time. And when you tell them something and then they ask some inane like tangential question and then you answer it and they go, like, I've literally had some of my students go, "Teacher, you're like Google." And I'm just like, that feels nice. Like, that feels really good to be
You're like,
compared to
damn
like,
straight I am.
yeah. I'm like, don't fucking forget it, okay? When the test comes around, don't complain
Google
about
wish
your
they were
test
me.
scores.
Mm-hmm.
But point being is that like it does give you like this sense of like, and if it goes unchecked, like a sense of superiority. And so that's where I think back to the point of like where we went from this first episode is you have to keep that ego in check, and you also have to remember. I mean, I guess it's kind of the one and the same. I don't know that much shit. Like I really don't. Like I've studied a lot, and like if we talk about like subjects where any of us have knowledge in, we are like probably quite knowledgeable. Not to toot our own horns too much, but it's like it is. There's so much knowledge in the world we just don't know, and like so much of the stuff like we were talking about the Bible earlier is lost to history. I mean, there's like
Mm-hmm.
discussions right now in history, not to turn this into like a history discussion, of if we've lost like 50 years to a century in terms of our history just because of records and how they were kept. Like we just like we have to be humble to some degree or another, I believe.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, is what you're talking about, right?
Mm.
We always know less than what we think we know, and the person that has the least knowledge that just discovered it and on that high, like JD's talking about, the high of righteousness. I'm right and God is on my side. So I'm going to tell everybody I'm going to start a podcast. And all of us have been guilty of that to some degree, right? But then even when you explain that now, people say, no, the Dunning-Kruger effect has been proven wrong. That doesn't even make any sense. Let's prove it wrong. It's just a tendency that we have. And that tendency is very clearly demonstrated every day all over the place. Stuart?
I love
Also,
how you were saying that, JD, too. Like you were mentioning just the power that you feel and that in being able to possess that. So is it simply power and control? Like for when I mentioned inerrant earlier with folks, because like if you go down, let's just focusing on the idea of inerrancy with folks like that, they've come to a place. This is my theology. The Bible is inerrant, and this is what we declare. What does that give them? We can just play this game.
I don't know if it's only superiority. I think that's a part of
Yeah.
it, but I do think whether it's like, because I think it's probably different for every person. I only know from like my experience and then experiences that I've gleaned from other people, which are obviously biased through their lens and how they decide to articulate it. But I do think that I think there are people, and I tend to believe myself included, like when I kind of like put forward these things, like it's not for me to feel superior, and I do try to in that way like try to reiterate to myself, like I tell the kids, listen, sorry, my dog's slamming the door. I tell them like, listen, I don't know everything, and like I make a point, like if I don't know an answer, or if I'll say like, hey, I've seen this research and this research, but like that's not the preponderance of it, so we can look more into it. Or I say like, listen, I actually haven't really looked into that, so I'll go home and do some research. You go home and do some research, and we'll talk about it. I think that's a much better approach. But I don't know. It would be hard for me to say what it is, but I mean, looking, I guess, returning to like the church, it does seem that a big part of it for a lot of pastors, especially like megachurch pastors, it is about power, money, control. I think so. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
guys think?
mom was doing a presentation. My wife Laura, JD's mom, she was doing a presentation for whole brain teaching at the State Teachers Association. She was very nervous, but she did very well. But she said one of the opening thoughts in her presentation was the brain needs predictability, but it also needs variety. So, and in whole brain teaching, it works with you do certain predictable things. It makes people, I think it makes people feel safe, and it makes people feel part of the group. And so we say this, we believe this is how we do it, this is how we express it. And within that, then I provide some variety so people don't get bored with it. But to me, it all comes back to, you know, in almost every realm, whether it's sports, religion, show business, people want to be on stage to some degree. They want that notoriety, they want the fame, they want to be accepted, they want to be applauded, and all those things. So if we stay within the right group, then we have the high of righteousness. I'm right, God is on my side, and things are going to go better for me because I'm in here. That's why I put up with so much shit while I'm in this thing. But, then that leads you down the road of, but then a lot of the stuff's not right, and it's not good, it's not healthy, and we just tend to ignore that because we want kind of a momentary safety. And I know you may not totally agree with that, but
No, I think
Yeah,
I think you're
I
onto
think it
that.
depends.
Just there's the like comfort in groupthink. The comfort meaning that I don't have to. I can just turn that part of my experience off, and voila, see where the rest will take me.
yeah, comfortable is not lazy. I mean, wanting comfort is not lazy.
Mm-hmm.
We need a certain amount of comfort to relax. We got to be able to relax sometime and sleep, and so it's not necessarily laziness, but it gets abused by leaders, who
I
they
think
give us what we
that
expect, and they give us a little variety, and they entertain us. And go ahead.
I'm just thinking. What I was going to say is that again, we can't be axiomatic about it. We can't say
Mm-hmm.
it is this or it is this. For some people, it's that. For some people, it is the power. For some people, it is the comfort of the group.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it is I just don't even want to do anything. I just want to be passive. Like it's not. I think that is one of the things, at least again, for me, my personal experience, because that's basically all I can talk to, and how I've interacted with the people I've taught before. It just really seems like it's different for everyone, and you have to kind of reach each person in their specific context. I think that's what it is, and that's again goes back to my. I'm really like I don't know. I'm sorry to get stuck on this, but that's why I don't like these sort of maxims of like it is
Mm-hmm.
like this is what it is or this is what. No, it's different for everyone. But there's certainly large groups of people that do exactly what you're talking about, Dad, and exactly what you're talking about, Stuart, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
people are being lazy because it's easy, or people are like, and people do need comfort. You're absolutely right. We do need comfort because we can't be in a state of anxiety our whole time. We can't be, working based on our lizard brain or our amygdala the whole time. We have to work on our forebrain, at least at some point. There are uses for all of those things. There are uses for comfort and et cetera, et cetera. But we can't just sit in one mode. We have to move around, and we have to investigate, and we have to talk to different types of people. And we have to have these conflicts and stuff. And that's my issue, is that I think like we were talking about, Dad, with is that we need comfort at a base level, right? We need our basic needs met, but we do also need a variety. And I think so much, and this is not just Christianity, it's religion in a lot of cases, and it's also culture, and it's also nationality, whatever group you
Mm-hmm.
want to put it in. There is so much that we just go, this is comfortable, this is what I know, and so I'm just never going to go outside that. And that is one of the worst things for humanity and for critical thinking, because I think those two
Yeah.
things are like, if we want to actually build ourselves as humanity and we want to work outside of our little groups, our us versus them mentality, which is like the most basic like issue that we have in our society, we have to move beyond that. We have to talk to people who are going to piss us off or who are going to make us upset. and we have to learn how to have those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, and why do we really have automobiles? We really have automobiles because we got tired of the shit in towns with
Accurate.
literally
Literally,
from
yeah.
horses piling up, 4 foot high mounds of manure everywhere on the streets, and that drove someone to say, well, couldn't we invent something that's more mechanical? And the things we're learning here and the things we're learning there, can't we question it? That was, for anybody that does that tries to change things even for the good, there's always pushback and stress because we like that we don't necessarily like the manure. We just don't agree on how we're going to get rid of it. Right? We just need more manure scoopers. We don't need something crazy like a spaceship or
Well, and not to like
automobile or
not to
whatever it is.
not to psychoanalyze that too much or like break that down, but like the
But
it's
you will
that's
anyhow.
also. But I will, yeah, I'm going to, of course. But it's not like the issue is not that it's like we want to make that progress. The progress is good, but saying we need a automobile where we can drive as fast as we want, because if you want to talk about the history, when automobile, like go look at any newspaper from like the when automobiles were
Turn of the
implemented,
century, yeah.
they were just killing people all the
I
time.
know.
Like
I
kids would be
know.
playing baseball, and but that's the point is we went
No
to, what do
rules.
we go to? What do we go to? We go to isolation into our like very very small communities, a car, as opposed to moving towards public transportation, which is a much more holistic answer and a much more and much more of an answer that will give us like peace and cause much less turmoil, make the society easier for everyone. But instead we go, well, we'll make it easier for people who are in niche communities and people who are powerful. Which is, I mean, obviously is because hierarchies and the people that control the top don't really want to make it easier for everyone. They just want to make it easier for themselves. But I won't go too far down that. But I think that's absolutely right. Is that we want to get rid of the shit, but we don't actually want to think about the best way to deal with our situation, because that would involve us operating as a whole community as opposed to just what is easiest for me.
You don't like horses? You don't like people that raise horses? What are we going to do? Right.
I mean, what did it do to the horse industry?
A lot of horses died to create the automobile industry. I agree.
Yeah.
And instead we should have horse-drawn train locomotives.
I love it.
Buses. Even though at times there were dead horses everywhere too, amongst the manure piles. So, Stuart, we hijacked your topic here. What do you got to say?
No, I think within all of this, but this is like, these kind of conversations are the good part. It is about, I think, exactly what we're talking about is the road to doing things probably better is a road that isn't individualistic. It's a road that has collectivity to it.
And it's messy.
It has to do with community, and it's messy with horseshit, and it's not fast, and it's slow. Because again, like automobiles, that was one way for us to be able to kill people faster than we could before. I mean, and so I think it's us being okay with the messiness. I think it's us being okay with moving into things that are less efficient in the short term, with the goal of being more efficient in the long term, or maybe not. But I think progress, and for lasting progress and for a community of progress, whatever that could look like, I think it's also messy. And it's not quick.
And it's not like, it doesn't always go up. Just like the economy, like there's this need, and especially in the United States, but honestly everywhere, where it's just like line go up, cash machine go burr, like that kind of thing, where it's just like, that's not how it works. Like, we are inherently fallible. That's one of the things I do like agree with the Bible about, is that people are fucked up and that we're dumb and we're stupid. But we can do some pretty amazing shit if we can put aside our pride and our differences and go, all right, let's do it. Let's work together. Let's have this conversation. And you might say some stuff that upsets me or whatever, and then we work it out. Like, I understand why it's hard to get past that point, but it is like very frustrating to see people cut off any sort of dialogue and like progress that we could potentially have, because we could have a lot of it right now with the prosperity that the world has seen, because we're doing better than we've ever done. But we just hold ourselves back constantly by just our tribalism. Endlessly frustrating.
I think JD and I both like history, and whatever circles I find myself in, people don't usually want to watch that. So I have to watch it when I'm by myself. But there's two shows that
Secretly
now.
in the dark, Carl's just watching history like, oh no, Laura's going to see me watching history. Ah!
She
Turns
just
out I was
doesn't
watching
enjoy
porn.
it.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be better. Two of the shows right now, one is by the Fawns by Henry Winkler, and the other one is by Dan Aykroyd. And you can go find those. One of them is Hazardous History or something like that. And they go back through those stories like, like the big cities filling up with poop and all that stuff, just to kind of remind us, like you said, that it's messy. And our brand new idea that we think is going to change the world might not be, or it's going to be harder than we think.
Mm-hmm.
It's also
I
not
think
new.
I think it helps to look back at history,
Mm-hmm.
see how hard it was, to see how long it took. There's no magic answers. There's no overnight cure. There's no, but we can definitely improve a lot if we work together and set our minds to it.
Well, and I feel like lasting progress isn't usually built on speed. Like if we're wanting things that
Mm-hmm.
matter, if we're wanting things that we can connect with more too, because I think that's one thing I think that, and this is a total tangent and we can run around with this one, but I was just thinking recently too about how like even simply in America, like we've become disconnected from like the food systems that we're in.
Mm.
Like we don't know
Mm-hmm.
how things get to whatever places. Like we almost like
Right.
we just don't know
Right.
anymore. Like
Yeah.
if you were to give certain people like here's a turnip, go feed your family, they wouldn't know what to do with it. But we're disconnected from these things, and I think that we've become disconnected from so many things in culture. It's easy for us to just lean on these things that seem like cardboard certainty because we've almost, and the internet hasn't helped us, and polarization certainly doesn't help this at all. But I think that we've forgotten simple things. I feel like we've forgotten just how to do simple things, and we have put in so much effort to try to avoid doing simple things. We put in all this effort and energy, and things get more and more complex. But at the same time, we've just forgotten how to simply do them the way that we
Mhm.
should.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a ramble, but yeah.
Yeah. One way to appreciate food and where your food comes from is to have a little garden in your backyard and see how hard it is to
Mm-hmm.
just raise a handful of beans or 15 or 20 tomatoes. Unless you don't like tomatoes, and then you're going to get 100, right, that you have to give to your neighbors when they're not expecting it and things like that. But it'll definitely awaken you to how hard it is for that piece of food to get to your table.
And in the same sense, I just think, but like you're mentioning like this, like I think getting our fingers dirty for that
Mm.
tomato or that food, I think it gives us investment into something outside of ourselves. And I think that we have to get back to whatever that is, metaphorically or otherwise, being able to get messy, get dirty, get our hands, get, the dirt under our fingernails. Because one thing with gardening and planting, there's no certainty to it. Sometimes things will go great, sometimes they won't, but that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of life also. And we want things easy, but
Sometimes a
yeah.
cat digs up your new tomato plants and things like
But
that.
also, if you do figure out those techniques or whatever, or you just get invested in it, but you have a community, your tomato plants might get dug up by a cat. Your neighbors don't, but your cucumber plants are good. But hers got dug
Mm-hmm.
up by your dog, Dad, because your dog's an asshole. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just
he
kidding. I
is.
love Winston. I love Winston. He's the wonder dog. But
He is a jerk, though.
point being is that then we can make up these gaps that we have, but we
Yeah.
have to support each other, and we can't just vilify other people because of some. And sometimes it's something that might be like genuinely like a bad thing that they believe, but you're not going to make them not believe that by starving them out by not feeding them your cucumbers because they have their tomatoes. Like, what would be
Mm-hmm.
better is if we find a way to work together, trade whatever, help each other, and then maybe we can move on past that. But I don't think again, it goes back for me to tribalism. I don't think that you're going to get anything out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't know how much AI will affect this. And I definitely don't want to get into a big discussion about AI right now. I just don't have the energy. But, uh, you know, when we have a neuroplasticity, right? So our brain can make new synapses and so on and make new connections. With my stroke, that's very real to me,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So learning to walk, I can get where I want a flat plane. I got a no carpet, so on. My foot slides a little bit, and I'm used to that, and I can get a pretty good rhythm going. Then if there's, undulating I attempted to use a couple of big words there, and it totally blew up. Undulating terrain. That's still not right. But if there's uneven ground, right, it gets way more complicated, and I have to think about it and do those steps. And just like with machines that we've been talking about, your things about machine, the simple things are when you can explain all the nuances to that machine and say, if this happens, then that. If this doesn't happen, then that, or you might do this. But you have to, in advance, lay out all the exceptions. Well, real life is not really like that. And humans and animals and plants adapt to that, and machines can't adapt yet. They seem to be, but I still assert that they've programmed not just the facts to machines, but now they're teaching them how to keep track of what happened and then change what the outcome is by how many times in a row that happened or how common it was. And then they change their facts, their internal facts. But those still have to be really clearly defined for a machine to do it. Humans are
and they're still based on what the vast majority of people are experiencing. The majority, the groups that are in power, the groups that are like it's not working for everyone. And if we want to really get those systems, the same thing, whether it's AI, technology in general, whether it's politics, I think that's why we have to start at the base level, the grassroots level, whatever, municipal level, whatever we want to talk about. If we want to make those changes, we have to start from our community, right? Because otherwise, you're just going to create, if we only work from the highest level, 30,000 foot view, we're just going to create what works best for the people who are in power, or at least the majority group at best case scenario, which is, again, still a crisis, honestly, for our society and our world.
And also, but like, exactly with what you're saying, that's kind of interesting. Like, I think that when we only, from our vantage point, we like to look at situations like in the macro, like the zoomed out, but individuals, we do not have the ability to really impact the macro. We can impact the micro, but we can get the most angry and upset and have the strongest beliefs about these large things, but we really don't have control over any of that.
Well, and you'll probably get the most.
It just keeps us spinning and not doing anything.
And you'll probably get the most good feeling from making a viral tweet or truth or whatever that like a bunch of people in power are like, oh, retweet. Well, wow, I got 10,000 impressions on my tweet or whatever. And it's like, that feels really good because you feel like you're reaching this big audience. But the reality is that someone retweeted it and then forgot about it 10 seconds later because they got pissed off about someone who said something else on Twitter. Like, that doesn't, in the end, that doesn't matter. These performative things don't matter. What matters is your community better day to day? Is your life, is your family, is your whatever, your tribe getting better? And then can you take your tribe and expand it? And can we bring all of these tribes together? Maybe not. Being a sociology teacher, maybe it's impossible, but we might as well shoot for it because if we don't, I don't think it's going to get better.
Can I read what Stuart wrote? Stuart, I love your writing, and Stuart's got a new book coming out, which is entitled, give the exact title.
The Tribulation Survival Guide. Comes out, thank you. I'm the worst at marketing myself. January the 1st, or January the 13th on Amazon. So
it is.
Lucky 13.
You should say up front it's satire. Sometimes people don't get that these days.
No,
but
And actually, so far, it's been funny. It's been funny not understanding. It's for me, I get a little bit of joy when people misunderstand it.
I was gonna say let Stuart get the sales from people buying that shit, totally misunderstanding it because maybe it'll come around later. Just there's a bunch of fucking chuds loading their fucking AR-15s, like building their like end of the world shelters. Like one
it's
hand.
It's a good book. Probably not the best book, but it's probably not as good as the Art of the Deal or the Bible. It's pretty good.
Books which they haven't read anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I can't do it, Trump. You said it's the paradox of priorities. honestly, Christianity has been living in the paradox for centuries because Christians are either elite level athletes at the stuff that should be hard, theological sword fighting, parsing logos in the original Greek, architecting entire denominations over whether baptism is a dunk, a splash, or a polite moistening. Building eschatology charts that look like conspiracy walls on meth. But somehow the things that should be painfully, insultingly simple, kindness, humility, generosity, compassion, those are the things that the church keeps falling like a college freshman taking calculus at 7 a.m. I love your writing, the way you express things, Stuart.
I can see
That's it.
Stuart's face while you're reading that, which is the same as when anyone reads my writing, which is just like, stop. This is like painful, but it is
Mm-hmm.
good. Like your writing, like I've been also reading the book, and it's like it's very, it's just witticism after witticism where you're just like, this is just good, and it's like I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like even someone from the outside, I guess clearly from like the people misinterpreting it, like you're doing good work. Like you're
They're
doing the
just
Lord's work.
misinterpreting my crappy memes that I'm putting out, but they're obviously not endorsements. Sorry, we've gotten off topic now, but no, but like these, yes, sorry, but it's, and we'll talk more about this book in our fourth session.
We will teaser.
Yeah, we got to at least leave us on a cliffhanger. But Karl,
One more quote
one more quote.
from his article. And this article was titled Moravec's Paradox, but make it biblical. We've mastered the complex mechanics of faith while flunking the human parts of it. I think that is absolutely true.
Yep.
Yeah,
I totally agree because
we
it
lost the
is
plot.
you if we want like that's a bit like again I'm rambling but that is an exact summary of what I was talking about earlier, which is just like we have to be human. We have to talk to the people that are next to us, like the people that are our neighbors. We talked about that in the first episode here. That's I don't know. It's just what we have to do if we really want to have meaningful change in the world. It's not going to come from us tweeting at Donald Trump and changing his mind, or tweeting at whatever other like Xi Jinping or Putin or whatever. Like there's all these rulers, and we can't. There's too much. That's too much to think about anyway. Like you're not going to be able to understand the whole of Russian politics or European politics or whatever. And we should strive to understand those things. But what we can have a great impact on is if we can be compassionate, loving human beings that can interact with people, which Stuart articulated way better than I will, but getting on those base levels and just interacting with people and trying to get in the shit and make something happen and change a mind, change one person's mind. That's way more impactful than if you spend your time tweeting all day. Because you're just not going to change people's minds. Because when you meet someone face to face and have that conversation, and everyone knows this, we can talk about it for however long we want to, but when you argue with someone online versus when you have a debate with someone in person, it's not the same. And of course, there are always people that we can meet in person that are going to be dismissive and won't take you seriously or whatever. But you have way higher chance of actually having some sort of conversation in that case. And that's what I think we need to we just have to get away from like this performative online content.
My
Except for
closing, my closing thought would be that I think I mentioned that Laura did a presentation this week. She nailed it. She hit it out of the park. People were appreciative. She did it well. She had that satisfaction. But the important parts of those 2 days for me was that as she was leading up to this, having high blood pressure and being anxious and anxiety, was me trying to be supportive, being there, helping her through that, and then even afterwards to recover from that. And those are the things that we usually say don't matter. She hit a home run. That's all that matters. But no, there's the human part of that that's more subtle. And are she and I really communicating? Are we really nurturing each other? Are we really loving each other? Or is there a lot of other things going on? And I think the more we understand the brain and the nervous system and all those things, the hard part about that is it's going to say that you need to slow down and you need to pay attention to these little things that really, really matter. And a machine can't really do that unless it's programmed to do exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
And it will never be able to, because like you talked about, our neuroplasticity is too complex. It's not going to be able to do that because it can't adapt unless it's living in your brain. So unless we all want to install Neuralinks, which be the like ye who wishes to cast the first stone on that one, be my guest, but I will not be joining you. It's not realistic. But that goes to the point of what I was just saying, is like you have to, that's someone, that is the person that you probably on this earth know most intimately. And so you're able to reach them in a place of extracting from the
Some of the
high of righteousness, right? Of acting out on the stage, to pull that back and go, hey, I know you're worried, you killed it, but that doesn't, just saying you did a good job doesn't,
mm-hmm.
I know this from experience with my students. I've seen them do presentations where I was like, that's like something I've never seen someone in university, PhD level. I haven't seen something like that. But they will go, no, it wasn't that good. It was, I made a mistake. I missed this piece of
Mm-hmm.
information.
Stuart.
Who cares, man? Like that's, but you can connect to them, because when you connect to them, as opposed to someone who's just a random person, hey, good speech, loved what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go to them and I say, listen, I've taught you for 5 years. That was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. That's
Mm-hmm.
impactful. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
we can find that difference, and we can move people beyond their hangups or their issues with trauma or whatever it is. That's where we can find that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah,
Good stuff, man.
I love it.